please stop. Please stop and watch. Stop and watch me interviewing some of the greatest street performers in living history. This is a year of winding on. This is one of the first of a few compilation videos we're bringing out through Christmas and January while we're not interviewing. Enjoy. All the links from the doobly-doo. For now, catch you all soon. Share the video if you like it. Check out the original interviews if you do. From me and from everyone on the Winding On team, all my love. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody.
It's like all of a sudden you get this excitement. You know it's naughty, or you know it's like going to be a problem, or you know it's going to be, this thing. It's scary. How are you going to fix this? I decided I'm going to become blind.
What drove me into entertaining is what drives everyone into entertaining, which is a huge internal maw that's empty, that can only be filled by the love of strangers.
And I tried a show by myself on the East Piazza and made 10p. And that was how my career started on the streets, yes.
I was a teenager and I was on holiday with my parents and I saw a street performer. And I had never considered being a performer, really. My parents did a little bit of Amdram, but, it had never really appealed to me. I saw this street performer whose name was Ricardo. And I just immediately loved what that magic trick he was playing of going to a place not designed for a show and just by sheer force of will and skill and craft and talent making it into a theater. Because it's what street performers do. They turn a place into a theater just by saying, no, I decide it's a theater now because I say so. It's beautiful.
I looked in the mirror, checked it out. I thought, okay, got my dog. Okay, I can do this. So next day, I'm getting ready. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Really scared though, nervous. So got everything ready. Got my backpack. Put the juggling clubs in the back. Got my unicycle. Got my dog. Took his
unicycle.
Yeah, of course. So I forgot about that part. I'm gonna be blind. They're gonna believe me. So I took the lead, choked it up on my wrist, and I practiced a little bit walking down the street. And then it was a bit exhausting because you're concentrating. So I relaxed. I had another ways to go before I got the streetcar. I could see the streetcar there, so I knew I could see some people near there. And so I started to okay, it's showtime. So I got my glasses on, got everything ready, and then I'm walking close, and as I get closer, you can hear everybody goes quiet, right? It's just like silence, there's tension, and so I'm doing this thing, and I've learned. I pretend as though I'm not, I can't see anything, and then the streetcar. I said, excuse me, could you let me know when the streetcar is coming? And they said, oh, sure. And so nobody's questioning that I'm blind, right? They don't do that. People are scared to do that.
So I did all these festivals and kind of found out that festivals weren't this holy grail that I thought they were. That they were a different...
Why do you think that? Yeah, sorry, you got to say it anyway. Carry on.
Well, they're a different animal. They're just a different animal. And
do you want to go into that a little bit more? Why they're a different animal? What you mean by that?
They subtly encourage outdoor cabaret as opposed to street theatre. But street theatre can't exist to the same degree inside a festival because festivals have their own legitimate expectations. They trying to get, because their sponsors demand that there's certain acts happen at certain times in certain places, and that's the way it should be. That's different from a street environment where you're kind of a little more subversive. and it also over a long period of time, there's now a whole generation of performers who just do festivals.
I did the Straight Jacket and Chains escape because it was nice to be warm, hugging yourself when the snow was there.
Yeah.
Oh, the winters, man. But, you know, we got through it. My rule was, I had a rule, and my rule was I would not sign on the dole. Because a friend of mine did. There was a magician buddy of mine. He would do shows as well. And one winter, we were all squatting in Hackney. We had all these squats. It was squatting era. So we didn't pay any rent. We had no rent, you know. And another buddy of mine, he used to come down and do shows, and he went on the dole. And I went, I'm not going on the dole. Right, I'm only going to do shows. And I did shows on the tube. We can get to that as well. It was so cold, I was doing shows on the tube trains, on the trains. But I went to, he went on the dole. Then he stopped doing shows because, you know, because he was getting his, I don't know what it was, say it was 50 quid a week, a fortnight, or 20 quid a week. Yeah. I don't know what it was, right? But I knew myself, if I got 23 quid that week for free from the government, I'm not going to do shows. I can make that 23 quid last, you know, eating beans and rice. And that would stop me doing shows, which would stop me getting better. That was my theory. And it was very interesting because this other fella who went on the dole ended up stopping performing and getting a real job.
So what do you want to do? You know? And I hadn't even thought about, I didn't think in terms of career. I still don't really. And I was like, I'm doing this. I'm literally doing my dream. My dream has come true. I'm able to make good money in the early 90s, late 80s, quite good money for someone living in a 40 quid a week bedsit in Wood Green. And I get to do a show that is now working. I'm with my friends every day. Why would I want any of this to change? This is fantastic. I have eggs on toast every morning. Why would I not want to go to a cafe every morning? And Rob was like, maybe you should think about what you just maybe think about that. I didn't. But, you know, after a while I did. And at the same time, a lot of performers were going to Edinburgh. They were going, people were starting to go, like, I think Paddy, Andre, Alex Dandridge were starting to go places like Canada and Australia and to do festivals and stuff. And I was too scared. I would say that, well, no. You will go to Edinburgh. I'm going to stay here and clean up on the pitch that is now empty because you will go to Edinburgh. The fact was I was scared. I'd found the thing I could do. I'd used up all of my bravery to take this step into performing, to do this. And I had none left. And I was like, no, I'm scared to take the next step, you know. And it took years before I wasn't. And Dave helped with that.
So now I'm waiting for the streetcar. Streetcar comes up, and I'm hearing it. And now there's lots of tension. Door opens. Everyone's waiting for me. And so just as I'm going up to the steps, I realized that I hadn't practiced how to pay. Little detail, right? But in that moment, I got a bit of an anxiety wave. Like, shit, I didn't practice how to pay them. So I just put my hand in my pocket. I had some change, and I just held it out for the guy to take, right? But, of course, I didn't trust anybody this day. So I'm slightly watching through my glasses while trying to pretend to be blind and make sure he doesn't overtake the money. And then he takes, and I said, oh, thank you very much. So I start to walk up the steps. Just at this moment, my dog, you know, he's not really a professionally trained blind dog. So he starts to, like, pull the other way, you know. and then it's like he's not cooperating. And I think there was a moment where there was a cat. He used to freak out at cats, and if I remember correctly. I think, but it was like he was distracted. And I said, come on. And I'm pulling him. And I'm like really fucking nervous, going up the step. And then like, thank you very much. Oh, and I go around, and I'm being blind, but I'm looking slightly. And some old lady gives me her front row seat, right? And I'm like thinking, oh man, you bastard. And I have to take it because, you know, I'm blind. And so I take the little old lady's front seat, and then my dog, who's not used to being a blind dog, he decides to lie exactly in the middle aisle on the floor, right? And I can't squeeze him underneath. There's no space. So I'm like, oh, shit, okay, you just have to accept this. And then as people start to come in, everyone's got to like step over him. You know, it's like a big thing. I'm like, oh, shit, I just want to get through this. And then, so finally everyone gets through, and then the streetcar's going. So I'm like, oh, thank God, okay. And then it's like I had to stay like that for ages. I don't know if you've ever been trying to be blind, but if you're like blind in public and everybody's looking at you, it just seems like forever, you know? It's like you're just there and you got to stay in character, and I'm not really relaxing. It was so exhausting. It was like 20 minutes of being blind felt like, 3 hours. And but as I started to relax over time, I started to like look around a little bit, and there was these two young ladies, I don't know, 22, like around my age a little bit, and they were quite attractive. So I was like, wow, and they kept staring at me, and I was like, gosh, and I felt a little bit shy, but of course they didn't know I was looking at them, but they were looking at me because I had the dark sunglasses. And so anyway, finally I told the guy when we get close to Jackson Square to give me a holler. So when we got, he said, okay, mate. He said, not mate, he's not English. He said, next stop. I said, okay, thanks a lot. So it stopped. Now the nervous part is I had to get up, and I had to exit the streetcar while everybody's quiet. I mean, some of the people have already left. And so then I get up, I get my dog, and I start to walk down, and then everyone tries to help me, opens the door, helps me down. Just as my dog comes out, he does a leap for a cat, because there was a cat there, and he used to go crazy about cats. And then poof, and I fall down the steps, and fuck, and then people lift me up, and then, whew, you all right? You're right? Yeah, fine, thanks a lot. Yeah. And then I wait, door closes, streetcar goes on its way, and I'm just standing there, and there's about 10 people just quietly, just stunned, looking at me. I must have looked like quite a sight with the dog, with my glasses, with my backpack, with my clubs. And I just thought, I'm going to do it. So I just took the glasses off, and I said, how you doing? I just walked out. That was that big release. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. So that was my short story. Blind juggler in New Orleans.
So that was the wonderful Paul Morrocos, Martin Ewen being very thoughtful as ever, Nick Nickolas telling stories about the old days and freezing, and Matt Ricardo telling some inspirational things. I hope you enjoyed that little shortcut of the interviews. Check out the full interviews. Once again, they're in the doobly-doo. If you enjoyed any of that, please subscribe, please like, share. This is Matt, the Encouragable Rogue from Winding On, once again wishing you a Merry Christmas and saying goodbye, everybody.